Today we're going to be modifying our 8N tractor. This particular tractor is from 1951. We're going to be adding an aftermarket parking brake. The 8N kind of came with a parking brake. Basically what you had to do was you had to hold the brake lever down with your foot, and under the seat you'll find this paw, which you were supposed to reach down, move the paw in place, and it would grab a hold of one of these teeth and hold that brake pedal down. Now obviously the real problem is when you're sitting on the tractor seat, well, A, you can't find it, let alone even get to it, because all of this stuff is in your way. And the 8N has two different brake pedals, so when you're holding the one for the left side, well, there's another paw on that side of the tractor that you have to reach and twist it around and make it lock in place as well. That pretty much rendered the parking brakes fairly useless for these tractors because they were nearly impossible to engage while you were sitting on the seat. Now back in the day when these tractors were popular, well, other manufacturers noted that this was a problem and they created their own solutions. One solution was to put a couple of long levers on them so that you could reach down and at least get to the levers and lock those brakes in place. And the other option was, well, the one we're going to use today. It was a manufacturer that made this lever type contraption that allowed you to pull back on the handle and lock both brakes at the same time. The original companies that were making these parts, well, either A, they don't exist anymore, or they do not make the parts anymore. However, there is a company called Red Rock Manufacturing, and they do reproduce both of these options. So I purchased the lever option. This is called the Arnco single lever parking brake, and we're going to install it in this video, and it looks really simple to install. So let's get started. The first thing to take note is the entire install is going to take place on the right side of the tractor. And as you can see right here, this is the factory parking lock, and it is held in place by a pin. On the very back side of this pin is a cotter pin that holds the pin in place. The pin itself should be loose. However, on my tractor, it was not loose and I had to drill it out. So you may have to get creative, but this pin has to be removed and you're going to discard the paw or the parking lock itself. So the only thing holding that parking paw in place is this particular pin and a cotter pin that goes in the end. Once you've removed the pin in the parking paw lock, you're going to remove a couple of bolts. You need to remove the bolt on the top of this inspection plate. That is this bolt here. You're going to want to keep that because you're going to reuse that particular bolt. And you're going to remove this particular bolt here. This bolt is going to get replaced with a longer bolt. Both of these fasteners require 11/16 wrenches and sockets. Now inside that kit, you're going to find a piece like this, and this is the piece we need to install next. And you're going to find out that this particular piece lines up perfectly with that bolt that we removed from right here. And it's also going to line up with the inspection bolt that was on the top of the plate back here. After getting both of those bolts tightened up, we're ready for the next step. And that step is to install the lever that you're going to pull to activate these brakes. Now using the supplied hardware, you're going to put the bolt through the lever hole. You're going to need a washer on each side of the lever, and this particular bolt goes into the upper hole on the bracket that you just installed onto the side of your tractor. That bracket is threaded, so you can put your bolt in, and you're going to tighten it up so you don't have any side-to-side play. It's a little bit firm, but not too tight where it won't move up and down. And then they supply you another nut to put on the backside to act like a lock nut. So you're going to want to tighten that down after you get all the play out of the lever and everything feels nice and smooth. Next, you're going to grab the long strap located in the kit. You're going to take the large hole. It goes towards the rear of the tractor, and the position of that hole goes onto the bottom. The hole is offset a little bit. You want the hole towards the bottom of the arm itself. You're going to grab the pin that's also included in the kit. And the way this works is this arm goes behind the arm that is attached to the lever. So your pin's going to go through that arm that's attached to the lever, through the long strap that you just grabbed out of your kit, and then you're going to feed it through the original braking paw that's back here on your brakes. Once that pin's installed, you're going to go ahead and put the cotter pin in on the back side, just like it was installed from the factory. And now you're going to find yourself with only a handful of parts and pieces left to install. This tiny bracket they give you goes on the outside, and there is a saddle that encapsulates the brake pedal on top. And then you just put your pin in. After you install the last cotter pin on the back side of this pin holding the saddle, well, your installation is done and this parking brake is ready to use. The brakes work independently just as they should from the factory, but if you need a parking brake, all you have to do is reach down, grab a hold of the handle, pull straight up until it locks in place, and your brakes are now activated. And to release the parking brake, you just shove forward on the handle until it releases. And as you can see, both brake pedals came up and the tractor no longer is in park. It's very clever, and I really appreciate the engineering that went into this particular design. The kit comes with everything you need to install it, and it also comes with some pretty detailed instructions. It was really easy to install. There are a few things I would like to mention. The pin that holds this pawl on my particular tractor was gouted up so bad I could not remove it easily. Unfortunately, I did have to drill the pin out, but by what I can tell online, this isn't always the case. My tractor has been well used and probably left outside its whole life. One other thing to keep in mind is this does come painted, and some of those holes have painted them, making it a little tight for the pins and bolts. One particular hole I did have to clean out with a drill bit. It really wasn't a big deal. It just had a little too much paint that made it just a little bit too thick for the pin to fit through the hole. Other than that, as you can see, the install is really straightforward and it works really well. I will put a link to the manufacturer down below. If you like these types of videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. Take a look at some of my other videos. At the very least, you might be entertained.